Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. Talk about our players of the week, as we always do. Starting out offensively, Justin Jackson. I just found out, too, he was named the Co-Big Ten Player of the Week. A career high of 188 yards, a couple touchdowns. I really thought our offensive line was a big catalyst to the reason why that happened, especially Brad North and J.B. Butler. I thought both guys played a really solid game up front. Offensive big playmaker were a combination of Clayton and Austin. Austin with a career high of 11 catches, and then Clayton with a career high of 27 completions. I thought both guys really were productive and made some big plays, especially on third down, and then the big fourth down play there to kind of put the game away. Two guys playing really well. Defensively, Joe Gaziano. I thought Joe played probably his best game of his career. Obviously, a big sack that's become a viral sensation, I guess, is what I'd call it. But nice play by Joe, and played really solid. Big playmaker was Afadi. Another terrific game by him. I think I called him an 80s cover band. He's gotten 2 good games in a row. So I called him VH1 after the Iowa game, and now he's got two good hits. So hopefully we'll make it 3. Special teams-wise for us, and I know the Big Ten honored Solomon Vault, but really he only had to outrun one guy. That was the backside 2. It was the 10 guys up in front of him. That our kickoff return team was just great. I mean, that was an excellent job by those guys. Michigan State actually changed up their coverage a little bit against us, and I thought we adjusted pretty well, and the guys went out and executed really well. In particular, guys coming over. Flynn Nagel had a nice block to get it started. Same thing with Garrett Dickerson. Really good job on the double team with Skoranek and Scanlon. And then both those guys got up off the ground and did a terrific job blocking. Really good job by Brett Walsh, and probably the best job was by Cam Green on that play. Came across from the field and engaged a looper probably just outside or a little bit outside the boundary numbers. So I know Solomon gets to be the highlight of the game, but more importantly, those guys are the ones that made it happen up in front of him. Practice player-wise, Eric Lutzen at Superback did a great job for us last week. Unfortunately, had to make light of it because the plays that he scored touchdowns in practice last week were the same plays that Michigan State scored in the red zone on. So Lutzy gave us a great look. Travis Willock, a young DB, was our defensive practice player of the week, and Eric Eshu, our special teams practice player of the week. Excited for homecoming. Excited to be back in front of our students and in front of our fans. It's been a long road with 3 weeks, to the bye and then 2 road games since we've been at home. So excited to get back at home. Always excited for homecoming to get our alums back. It might be the only time they get a chance to come back to Evanston to be on campus and be a part of college football. And so excited to have our alums back. And then, obviously a special weekend for me personally with having a 20-year reunion for the 96 team, the back Big Ten champion team. That I was a senior on, and Justin Shabbat will be our honorary captain. It's going to be great to have Justin back. We were captains together in 96, and he was first team All-Big Ten, first team academic All-Big Ten. Had a cup of coffee in the league and was here for 5 years with Coach Walk as our director of football operations, and has now spent 12 years with the 49ers, and he's now their national scout. So going to be excited to see him and a bunch of my teammates. We'll have a fun reception on Friday night. And then, obviously festivities around the game. So really impressed with the Hoosiers. Obviously Kevin and I had a chance to work together, known each other for a long time and are good friends. And, a ton of respect for the job he's done now in his 6th year, turning the program around. You watch him on tape offensively. A lot of similarities schematically and to not only ourselves, but more importantly, to kind of who they are. They've got an identity. They do a really good job with tempo. They got really talented guys in the perimeter playing with 3 backs. They incorporated 2 quarterbacks against Nebraska to get some things going in the run game. And then, probably the obvious that you guys have all seen is the job that Tom Allen's done with their defense. Number one, all on the same page, schematically very sound. Being very aggressive and playing, I think, outstanding defensive football. A team that lost a tough one in the bowl game last year to Duke in overtime, and coming off a bowl season and played really well. As obviously we had a chance to get ready to watch Michigan State. We saw the Hoosiers the week before. And played really well last week against Nebraska and the week prior against Ohio State. So the last 3 weeks, I know they're 1-2, but really played really well against the 2 teams that they ended up on the short end. So going to be a huge challenge, and hopefully we'll put another good week together. So with that, how about some questions?
Fitz, you guys have now shown that you can win on the road in those kind of atmospheres. Mm-hmm. How do you do it now at home? Because with an 11 o'clock start, it might not be so raucous to get going here.
Well, we practice at 8:15 tomorrow, so I don't really care what time we play, and I really don't care where we play. So, I mean, that's kind of where we have to mature to as a team. So that's how.
I don't mean it's too early for the guys to be ready to play. Mm-hmm. I mean, early in the season, the 11 o'clock starts at Ryan Field. Your team sometimes doesn't, they don't seem so fired up like against Illinois State or Western Michigan.
We're going back to the early in the year stuff again. All right. So, yeah, well, that team stunk. Yeah, so I just hope we don't have that team show back up. I think that team is dead. I think. I don't know for sure yet. I'll know a little bit more tomorrow. But that was a really bad football team. So it's my fault. So, I think we're working to get better. I think we're working to get things fixed. 11 o'clock where sunny, rainy, if that's a problem, we're going to get our butts whipped. Honestly. I mean, it has nothing to do with it. It really has nothing to do with it. It has to do with how we prepare, and it really has to do with how we start. We did not start well against the Spartans. And you spot a Big Ten team, 14 points, and you find a way to win. That was a great response, but a pathetic start. And that's on all of us. Our first 7 plays offensively were not very good. Our defensive line was not playing very well early. Bang, bang, turnover, touchdown. Now all of a sudden we've given away momentum, and we cannot allow that to happen on Saturday.
What's the status of Connor Mahoney right now?
He ran around today, so that's his status. If not, JB will go.
Product of running, extending runs downfield 20 yards or more is usually because of receivers engaging downfield, stick and stay. Do you see that happening more and more?
Occasionally. Yeah, I think we're doing okay, and we're not great, especially early in the game. Guys were splashing off and runs that were maybe 4 or 5 yards that could have been 15, 20 yards. If we would have been physical, we would have been good with our hands, good with the base, and sustained. But I think that group is working. I have zero issue right now with our receivers from a work ethic standpoint. I think they're doing a great job in practice. But I think we talked about it after the game, right? I mean, it goes back to what kind of their attitude was in the offseason, and I think Scan and Austin have carried that over, through the year. So they've just got to keep on it. We're six games in. We're an average football team. We're 3-3, and that's who we are. So we got a lot of work to do to get better. We haven't put together a complete game of 60 minutes yet in all 3 phases, and we're going to squeeze everything out of this group to get that to happen. Because we're running out of opportunities to have it happen, and the sand's running out fast, real fast. So just gonna stay on them and keep grinding. And I think, the older leadership is really trying to continue to bring that young group of guys along. So work in progress.
Pat, Austin keeps getting open, and it can't really be a secret anymore that he's out there. Is he not getting as much attention from opposing defenses as you expect, or is he just winning the matchups?
Right now, I think he's winning matchups from a standpoint that, we got him in some one-on-one situations on Saturday, and to his credit, he was able to get open. The O-line was able to give Clayton enough time. And I think that third down play where we threw the corner, the 2 under and a corner route, that seemed like that ball was in the air forever. Austin jumped too early, and then made the great play. Earlier in the year, remember when I was talking about Clayton getting depth, getting back? Okay, good. Everybody in the building knew they were blitzing. Get yourself a little bit more time to be able to make a play and make them pay for doing what they were doing. Early in the year we didn't have that happening. It just didn't happen. They brought one more than we had. That's going to happen from time to time. To Clayton's credit, seeing him mature, drove really back out of his drop, caught the ball, drove back 3-4 yards, had to drift a little bit, and gave Austin time to go run the route and gave us a chance to go make a play. Early in the year, he took the sack. And that's the difference of, whether or not we're able to sustain drives, whether or not we're able to stay on the offense field instead of punting, whether or not we're able to finish drives. And the credit goes, I think, to the whole package. It's no different plays. It's no different scheme. It's that the guys are taken to the coaching, and they're trying to go out and make things happen. So I think those guys have got some pretty good chemistry going on right now. On third down, if we don't anticipate that we're going to see more blitz and more man or even him potentially getting doubled, great. That's a great opportunity then for Flynn. It's a great opportunity for the rest of the crew, to go out and make plays. Macon's made plays on third down for us. Benny Skoronek's made some plays for us. Scan's made a few plays for us. Garrett's made a few plays for us. Solo's made a few plays for us. So if that's what people decide to do, then there's going to be other guys that are in one-on-one matchups, and they've put a lot of focus on 80, and now we got to go make them pay somewhere else. So it's a chess game of football. It'll be fun to see how things progress.
Hey, Coach, obviously, everybody in this room knows how good Indiana is, but like the casual fan, the outside observer may not know or may not think because it's Indiana, but what would you say to them when you look at them, like what stands out in the Hoosiers and being makes them good?
Yeah, well, I'd YouTubed their tape, first of all, and I tell that fan to watch the tape. When you watch, number one, you see Kevin Wilson's DNA all over it. They're tough. They're physical. He's made some decisions defensively that I think now you can see that they're all on the same page. They're playing fast. They're playing physical. They're bringing pressure. They're playing man up in your face. They're playing with an attitude. They're playing with an energy level on defense that is fun to watch. I enjoy watching it, because, again, we got ready. We saw them in the cut-ups here, getting ready for Michigan State. And that was really impressive to watch. Continues on with the Ohio State game. Continues on last week with Nebraska. Saw it earlier in the year. Offensively, they've dealt with a few injuries and graduation, and now they're guys that had to step into new roles are really starting to play well. I know Kevin wasn't happy with their game on Saturday, just watching his comments, but you just see the explosiveness, you see the tempo, you see the physicality up front, you see the physicality on the edge. And I thought they won the kicking game against Nebraska. I really didn't. I thought same thing in Michigan State and in Ohio State. I thought they played really, really well. I mean, they block a punt for a safety on Saturday against the Cornhuskers, and then they get the big long return that leads to another score. That's 9 of their points, really, and not to discredit their offense, but 9 of their points were their punt return team. So, just really impressed with what they're doing there. And they're very sound with what they're doing, and they're playing hard and playing physical. So, our guys, I think the benefit for our players is, again, they were in our cut-ups last week. So we watched them indirectly already, and our guys were really impressed with them on tape a week ago. Now, when you start going through your prep for a whole week, it doesn't take long to see that. So I guess I'd tell that fan to just YouTube their video, I guess. Is it okay that I say that, YouTube? I don't know. Is that okay? Okay. All right.
Coach, Gaziano's sack certainly was the highlight of his game, but how would you assess his overall performance? What kind of fire did he bring when inserted into the lineup?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, the defensive staff believed that he was the player of the game, so we just don't give that out, So I think he was 7 out of 7 at the point of attack by the way that we grade. Had a big fumble recovery on Afadi's strip sack. I really think we were kind of hanging out watching the homecoming parade until Joe sack, and just what are we doing? And that's what was frustrating to me. And at halftime, I was very, very demonstrative. I was not very pleased at all with how we played in the first half. Now, we were much better in the second quarter than we were in the first quarter. But, you achieve what you emphasize. And we talk all the time here about starting fast. We start our practices fast. Everything we do is that way, that nature, our lifts. And not to do that, to me, is a choice. And I didn't like the choices that we were making early. And I think Joe's sack, you kind of saw our energy level go up. We're going to play a team that's playing with a lot of energy and a lot of passion this week. And, they'll come in here and get after our rear ends right from the get-go if we allow that to happen. And so we've got to match that intensity and have more. As a home team, you got to have more. Because as a road team, you always have a chip on your shoulder. You always kind of, take the road as kind of a challenge, and it galvanizes you. So hopefully we take that kind of mentality into the game and have kind of the second quarter and beyond for the most part as a squad from Saturday. But I thought Joe played probably, his best game, and he played the most that he's played all year.
Coach, I see J.B. Butler is listed as the first-team left tackle this week. Can you talk a little about his journey to that point and also how he did last week?
Did they put it left guard or left tackle? Is guard? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Sometimes Keegan puts the wrong guys down. Yeah, that's okay. Well, first of all, he's been a guy that's been, I think, since day one, a high energy player. Great work ethic, really great attitude. He earned the personal protector role this year on our punt team. We don't give that role out. That role is earned. And, I think that he's done a really good job from that aspect, and then continue to be prepared to go in not only at guard but also at center. And, his opportunity presented itself, and all he could control was whether or not he was prepared, and he was prepared mentally and physically. Was he perfect? No, not at all. Neither one of our guards were, but I thought he played hard. I thought he played physical. I thought he played fundamentally pretty darn sound. And I think that gives Cush and the offensive staff a lot of confidence that, we got a guy definitely in the inside that can go in. And if one of those other two guys, let's say we move forward and one of the other two guys isn't playing well, even Brad, you got a chance to go put JB in. And I think it's a big boost for his confidence. Played against some pretty good D linemen there at Michigan State. I've really been impressed. With the interior of the Hoosiers. Really been impressed. They're playing hard. They're vertical blasting. They're getting off on the ball. They're causing a lot of disruption inside with their D tackles. So it's been impressive to watch. And we haven't played each other for a while, so we did our off-season study, and got ready for them, and just like we did Michigan State, right, and Ohio State. And that's what just jumps off to you is the change, obviously, in the way that they're playing defensively.
We've seen the results, the wins in the last two games. What have you seen as in terms of progression toward where you want the team to be?
Well, I think it's the way that we've been preparing. I probably, when you look back and you see kind of where we were coming out of camp and kind of how we were a little beat up, had to do a little bit more managing than I think I would like, but it doesn't really matter with that. We've had to do it in the past, and we've won 10 games, so it's really not that. But, you start to get the DNA of your squad, and we were so inconsistent that, we needed to have, I think, much greater attention to detail. And, that was my challenge to the coaches, that obviously for us being as inconsistent as we were early, that comes to coaching. It comes to attention to detail. It comes to discipline. It comes to focus. It comes to fundamentals. It comes to competitive nature. It comes to toughness. It comes to the standard that we have. And we weren't playing to our standard, and that's on us as coaches. That old great coachism that you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. Which one is it? And so get it fixed, and get it fixed now, or I'm going to get you fixed. And then in the same thing, I'm going to get the players fixed. So I think that's just what we're doing. We're just grinding. We got our I think our focus in the right spot. I think we're embracing that improvement mentality. I think every team is that way right now. You're 6 or 7 games in, whether or not you've had your bye. You know who you are, whether you like it or not, whether you look in the mirror and go, wow, you're pretty hot, or you look in the mirror and go, you're freaking ugly. It doesn't matter. You are who you are, and you got to find a way to win. And you're in conference play, and everybody's beat up. And those that embrace that grind and that improvement mentality typically do the right things during the week to put themselves in position to be prepared. If you're prepared, you got a chance to win. If you don't, you beat yourself during the week. You go into the game, and you lose. So, because you're not prepared and you don't have an opportunity. So, to me, it's not rocket science. It's really a simple formula. And the challenge is doing it, though. Challenge is doing it. Doing it with girlfriends, doing it with parents, doing it with homecoming, doing it with midterms, being able to manage what you have to manage and focusing and going and doing the things that winners do. So, far from a 60-minute team right now. We're not there yet. So there's a ton of room for improvement.
Fitz, obviously, you mentioned after the game that one of the biggest problems you had was in the secondary.
Yeah.
At least 3 plays where a guy burnt the defense. Usually it was Shelton, but There are others too.
Yeah.
How do you go about fixing that when you're preparing to face one of the most high-powered passing attacks in the Big Ten?
Yeah, well, the one play, I mean, that's a tough one on Godwin. He's there, he's in position. That's a tough play. That's 50-50 ball. He's got great coverage. Those things are going to happen. So I'll take that one and put that over on the side. The other ones are all inexcusable. Communication breakdown that just can't happen. It just can't happen. And what do? You practice hard, real hard, and you influx competition. That's what you do. And it's a pretty simple equation when it comes to that. So we've got to be a lot better. We've got to be a lot better. And I thought our front played well. I think their leading rusher was the young quarterback. And those happened on scrambles because we let them out the side door. One was an end, one was a linebacker, one was a D tackle. And we thought we had that fixed from the nonsense that we did early in the year with Western Michigan, and obviously we don't yet. So a lot of work to do on defense. It's a team game, and I'm not trying to point fingers and blame at people. We're all in this together. I mean, but when you see, the week before when our coverage units didn't work well, we fixed it, and the credit goes to the guys because the guys that went out there played well. Secondary wise, guys got to fix it. They've got to get to work, and JB and I and Hank, we got to coach them better, and that's what we'll do.
Coach, tell us a little bit about Garrett Dickerson and his performance and his role in the running game. Seemed like he had performed pretty well last week in Michigan State in some of those lead blocks. Yeah, G did a nice job. I think that his role is that he's one of our best 11. He's a guy that I think has learned from an NFL player, and their skill sets are a little bit different. But some similarities there from a standpoint of toughness and physicality and fundamental, and it's G's turn. I mean, he's been, I think, a role player in the past, and now to be a starter, a significant contributor. And again, there were some plays there that we didn't quite make, and there were some targets where he was maybe the next in the progression in the passing game too. But I think he's playing probably the best football of his career. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Go Cats.
Couple for the Bull over here. What is your take on that nickname, first of all?
It's funny. It's kind of like a Philadelphia thing. A lot of people call each other, Bull this, Bull that. And my two roommates from last year, former players, Mike McHugh, Cam Dickerson, just kept calling me Bull because I kept calling them Bull. So then the nickname kind of stuck, and Coach Fitz loves it. So if he loves it, I can't complain.
Does it reflect anything about you? We've heard you have no filter. I don't know if that has to do with being a Bull or whatever.
Kind of. A lot of people say it's I have a tenacious kind of attitude. I kind of have a grumpy attitude, kind of like a Bull too. So I mean it kind of reflects me a little bit. I like to be known for a physical guy, I guess, especially playing a position that not many people think is physical. So it's kind of cool.
For both of you guys, do you guys get kind of a boost for doing what you guys did on the road? I mean, the challenge of doing it on the road and the win there, does that kind of boost your guys' confidence going into the next week?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can go on the road, especially in a Big Ten environment, it's great to get a win on the road in front of 70,000. We go in there with 70 people, 70 versus 70,000. Coach Fitz always says. I mean, whether you're home or away, you're just trying to execute game plan, but absolutely, it's definitely cool to go into a Big Ten arena and come out with the win.
Yeah, I like just going out there and playing, just having fun. When you get a win, no matter where it is in the Big Ten, it's fun. It's hard, but just got to have fun with it. So it's been a great ride, last 2 weeks. We've really, just amped it up. You have to, especially when you're on the road and at Michigan State, at Iowa. Not easy at all. So it's been fun.
What do you two guys say to people who ask you what's the difference between the team now and what it was at the start of the season?
I think we're just confident right now. I mean, we really thought we didn't start the year the way we wanted to, and we really thought we were going to start strong. We had a lot of confidence in our offense through the offseason, And, it didn't start the way we wanted to, but, we just put our heads down, kept working. I know just up front, obviously, like the rest of the offense didn't start the way we wanted to, but me and Connor, the two senior guys on the offensive line kind of said the only thing we can do is keep working, and hopefully the work will pay off. And, I think starting with the Duke game for us up front, it's really started to head in the right direction. We've taken a bunch of steps forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the continuity is beginning to increase too. Working together, gelling together better, especially like coming from the wide receiver standpoint. 6 games under your belt with Clayton at quarterback. You start getting the timing down and everything, and I just think like Ole said, our confidence is rising, and that's key in the middle of the season.
What are the benefits maybe for you and the team of not really having a filter, of saying what you want to say?
That just lets you be yourself, and Coach Fitz says it all the time. Just be yourself, and have fun doing it. And as far as the no filter thing's concerned, I don't really see it as having no filter. I just kind of I like going out there and just saying what I want, doing what I want, and it's just a lot of people kind of follow it too. So having no filter could be a good or a bad thing. According to Austin Carr, it's only good when you need it. But hey, if he says so, then
He's
hopefully.
good at giving pregame speeches to the offense.
Is he?
No, very, yeah.
What are they like?
He's like you said, he's got no filters. He's a genuine guy. You can feel his passion when he talks to us. He's up there, speaking from his heart. You can tell when somebody's genuine, when somebody's not, when they really mean what they're saying. And you can tell Scanlon wants to win more than anybody, and he's going to go out there and fight. And when you see it in his eyes and you see it in the way he's talking, it definitely gets everybody going. Actually, I think Justin talked to the offense, but Scanlon's done it before. Every week, though, somebody gets in front of each unit and talks to them. It was Justin this week.
Is there any question that they were going to ask you to come back for a 5th year? If you were just looking based on productivity, maybe people would have said, oh, that's probably at 4 years. Was there any question in your mind, or what did it mean that they wanted you to come back?
Yeah, there was a lot of questions. Last year going into the final week of the season or so, or a week before, Coach Fitz kind of brought me into his office and told me, we would like to honor you for senior day. It's totally up to you if you want to come back for that 5th year, but if, and he Coach Fitz is a straightforward guy. And he just sat me down and said, you know what, we don't see your time increasing, your role increasing. And so for me personally, I didn't take it as a shot, that's for sure. You can't take things as shots sometimes. I just took it as a personal challenge. Sense of pride kind of rose a little bit. And I really wanted to come back. I really wanted to lead this team, lead the wide receiver groups especially, being as young as we are in that room, as, in general. It's been, I can't complain at all, and I'm so happy I came back, for sure.
Eric, Coach Fitz praised J.B. Butler's play after the last game. What did you see from him on the line, and did any of the older guys say anything to him before his first career start?
Yeah, JB's a guy that we really trust up front. He's a former walk-on who's worked for everything he's got in this program. He works his butt off in the weight room, gives it every practice, and he really worked to be that 6th guy, the first guy in on the inside. So we really trusted him going into the week, and as far as saying stuff to him, me and Connor are both pretty close to him, and I didn't say anything magical. Just trust yourself, cut it loose, and play. Like we 100% believe in you. He came in for 2 plays against Iowa and got 2 knockdowns. So he was just running around, flying around. So we said, hey, just cut it loose and play. And he did an awesome job, and it's awesome to see. He really deserves it. He's a real hard worker.
Scan, back in the spring, Mick said that what you guys were doing in the spring is getting confidence back in pitching and catching.
Mm-hmm.
Last week I asked him if you guys gotten the confidence back. He goes, our guys are pitching and catching with a lot more confidence. They've got a little attitude to them about it. Do you have that attitude? How do you define that attitude? What's the source of that attitude?
Going back to the spring, we just met so much with the quarterbacks. We did a lot of kind of RVA, routes versus air, just to get the timing down, just to get the steps down. And, after a while, it just becomes second nature. And it's real easy to, see where Clayton's going to throw it, when he's going to throw it, how he's going to throw it. When you throw with him in the spring, in the summer, 3, 4, 5 times a week. So we worked at it. And as far as the attitude, like the source of that attitude, I think we were fueled the past few years of, just not getting the ball as much as we have been as a Northwestern offense, as a wide receiver. Some say lack of production. You can call it what you want, but, we just wanted everyone to, kind of back up off the line a little bit, give Justin some breathing room so he can go for 188 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's just been fantastic and be more dynamic, more balanced. So we got that source.
And Eric, when the guys back off the line, like you said, how much easier does it make your job in a run game?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can have balance on offense, it's going to help every aspect of the offense. And we, a couple games ago, we hit a couple play action passes. We hit a couple against Iowa. And, I mean, they have to respect Justin in the running game. So if we can get guys up in the box, it's just going to open up the passing game. And once you get the passing game going, they have to respect that. Then they can't put, 8 guys in the box, which is really truthfully, I mean, anyone in the program would tell you what we saw most of last year, especially near the end of the year when teams were just loading the box against us. So, I mean, it helps everyone out when you have balance on offense, and just going to keep getting better, I think, if Clayton keeps pitching and catching like he is right now.
Jared, just tell me a little bit about your Instagram and the inspiration for it.
So I actually kind of got the idea from a fellow safety, Godwin Igwebuike, and he posted before the Duke game, in advance, thanking God for the takeaway he was going to have in the game, and it came to be that he actually had the interception. So that's where I got the idea. But I don't know. I'm a firm believer in asking God for the desires that are on your heart in advance, and just being prayerful, and if you're prepared, then you'll be in the right positions to make those kind of plays. So he blessed me, a lot more than I could ask for, but that's how it played out.
Godwin, how important a role has he been? How important has his leadership been this year?
Godwin's leadership has been extremely valuable, to the secondaries and to myself. He's mentored me, since the beginning of camp, before camp in the off season, watching film with me and, critiquing some of the things that happens when I'm on the field and holding him accountable as well. So, yeah, him being the leader in the secondary is, a big plus for us.
Any idea who's going to prophesize an INT next?
I think there's going to be a few guys fighting for that, to post that first. So we'll see what happens in the coming week.
Want to get both your guys' opinion on leading rusher and leading receiver in the Big Ten right now. That's pretty rare. Just tell me what it's like to go against both of those guys in practice every day.
I guess I can talk a little bit about going against AC. I mean, he's such a disciplined and I guess patient receiver, and it makes it hard, I guess, in practice. You get exposed a little bit, and the coaches, they're on you, but it prepares you for what's going to happen in the game. You're playing against the best receiver, in the conference on a day-to-day basis. When you get to game day, it's like, well, we've seen the best, so we can do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just kind of piggybacking off of that, going against somebody like JJ or just anybody. He's a great running back, obviously, but it heightens the D-line, it heightens the front seven's play, it makes us ready for things that we wouldn't expect to see, and it lets us play faster in the game and just prepares us.
Jared, going back to your Instagram post, so you did post it, and it shows how much faith that you do put in God to carry through in that. And so, what was your reaction when you did catch that interception?
At first I was hyped for making the play, and then once I got to the sideline, I remembered my post, and I was just, I was so grateful. I was filled with gratefulness and so thankful, and just praising God for what He came through.
For both you guys had a heck of a time getting off the field on third down the first 2 games. What's changed?
I think our communication has gotten better. Honestly, everything's changed. The first 2 games, we were a young team. I mean, I'm not saying that we're not young anymore, but we've meshed together a lot more. Our communication is better. Our conditioning is better. We're running to the ball a lot harder, and people are really going out there and eating and making those plays and like giving their all to actually get off the field and realizing the situation. So I think some of those things are kind of echoing through and showing through from practice that we practice, and it's showing up in the game.
Yeah, I guess going off that, in the back half, it really helps when those guys up front, are relentless with their pass rush and getting to the quarterback and putting pressure on him, making him move and making him mistime his throws. So, we're on third down, we're in a lot of situations where teams are trying to, throw the ball. And when they're putting pressure on the quarterbacks like they are, it just makes our job a lot easier in the secondary.
CJ, what kind of impact did inserting Joe Gaziano into the defensive line have? What kind of fire did he bring and with that sack and fumble recovery and just his overall play?
Yeah, I mean, Joe was a big game changer in that he definitely gave the whole team a spark. You could see by the first couple of drives that we came out flat, and that really gave us the spark that we needed. Obviously, you don't want to need to have a spark and come out fast, but it was great to have him right there. And Joe, being a young player, he's really stepped up. Like I said, I'm proud of Joe. I'm proud of the D-line. Really proud of Joe and how he's came into his own. We needed a big play from him having X down last week, and Joe came through.
Back in August when we were talking about your dog speech, I asked you about the offensive guys who represented that. And you said there were obvious ones like JJ, but unobvious ones. And you mentioned J.B. Butler as being someone who is a dog. How does he play? And were you surprised with his success this weekend because of what you've seen going against him in practice?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I mean, JB works hard. He works really hard, and he grinds 24/7, no matter what role you put him in. I remember it was his freshman year. We had him playing scout D-line, and he embraced it. He embraced the role right away and was out there giving a look to his own teammates that he was with in the morning and had to flip over to D-line and play scout team D-line. Like JB, from day one, whether it be off-season workouts or practice, he's out there grinding and giving his all. And I was just really happy for him and glad that it showed through on the game and that he was able to fit in there and mesh.
Jared, obviously Michigan State was able to complete some big pass plays down the field against you guys. What happened on some of those, like the 86-yard touchdown? And what do you have to do to not let that happen against Indiana, which also has a big passing game?
So a lot of those long passes, they come from just a lack of communication on the safeties to the corners and letting them know what we're doing and letting them know what coverages we're in. So this week we're going to be really harping on us not being casual with our calls and making sure the young corners are on their P's and Q's. So that's basically what it comes down to.